Dear Cheri, I have a friend who insists I need to use lecithin when making marijuana butter. Is this true? And if so, what does the lecithin do? Well, the short answer is no. You do not need to add lecithin when making butter. Before I get to the longer answer, though, I just want to remind everybody, hit that YouTube subscribe button and notification bell because I try to upload new videos every Wednesday. Okay, a lot of people seem to be under the misconception that lecithin is somehow an integral part of the process of making marijuana butter or oil or edibles. Not so. In fact, I can't see that adding lecithin to your fat-based cannabis infusions will do a darn thing. But there are times when lecithin could potentially be helpful, so let's explore. Lecithin is a phospholipid, a type of fat that serves an essential role within the body and makes up parts of cell membranes. Now, medicinally, lecithin is used to treat a variety of conditions, including high cholesterol, anxiety, eczema, liver and gallbladder diseases, and memory disorders, so it is a healthy ingredient. Functionally, lecithin is commonly used as a food additive because it helps stabilize foods and works as an emulsifier that helps bind ingredients that normally don't stick together, such as oil and water. So when you look at lecithin in these terms, it's easy to see how it might be useful for some applications. Now, do you need lecithin in cannabis cooking? Need it? No. And in many cases, you won't even want it. But there are some applications where it's helpful. I get emails from people all the time who add lecithin to the mix when making marijuana butter or oil. Now, I'm not a scientist, but to me this seems nonsensical. We know that the cannabinoids we're extracting, like THC, bind to fats. Lecithin helps bind waters to fats. Likewise, I see no need to introduce lecithin into the mix when making marijuana butter or oil. In fact, if you add water when making your infusions, as a lot of people do for better flavor and yields, it could actually be counterproductive, as you definitely do not want the cannabis to bind to the water, which will eventually be thrown out. I have one viewer who did this, and he ended up with a disgusting, unusable sludge. So, when might lecithin come in handy when cooking with cannabis? Whenever you need to emulsify or bind a fat to a liquid. Now, I don't worry about this when making baked goods like cakes and cookies, as natural lecithin exists in many of the ingredients used to make these, like eggs. Nonetheless, some people like to add lecithin to their batters to help them process more evenly. It's an option, but it's certainly not necessary. Now, I do think lecithin is helpful when making fat-free foods, because in those cases, you are trying to bind a fat, cannabis trichomes, to a liquid. Gummies are another instance when lecithin makes sense. And of course, salad dressings and anything that blends oils with liquids, because lecithin will help to keep these foods evenly emulsified. Now, some people claim that adding lecithin to their cannabis-infused products increases their bioavailability and likewise makes them feel more potent. Some people also claim that eating mangoes before ingesting cannabis makes you feel more high, too. Some people are more sensitive to cannabis than others, and some are far more sensitive to suggestion. Personally, I've tried it and felt no difference from the lecithin-enhanced edibles, and likewise, I don't personally put a lot of stock in it. But try it for yourself and see what you think. Some folks swear it's true. Science and lab tests, however, don't seem to support the enhanced high theory. No increase in potency shows up on lab tests, and people just say they feel more high. In fact, when then High Times Edibles editor Elise McDonough conducted the Great Cannabutter experiment that tested various methods for making marijuana butter, the batch made with lecithin yielded the least amount of THC. See the comments below for a link to check that out. So for me, unless I need to emulsify something, I skip the lecithin. When I do use lecithin, however, I always use sunflower lecithin, which comes in a fine powder that's easy to stir into your recipes. Yes, it's more expensive than soy lecithin, but it's cold pressed from the seeds and minimally processed. Soy lecithin, on the other hand, has almost always been genetically modified, is highly processed and is extracted with potentially cancer-causing solvents. In addition, soy itself comes with some questionable side effects. So if you are going to add lecithin, make it sunflower lecithin. Hope this has helped. Eat your weed.